Scream 2022 version, is it good? Is it bad? Should you go? Should you not? Find out today. Hi, how you doing today, Movie Nation? It's Just Jess here. Hope you're having a good day. And today, yes, guys, Scream 2022 version, we are going to go at AMC Hawthorn 12 at 2 o'clock in Dolby. That's right, in Dolby. Stick around towards the end because we are going to review. But before we talk about the movie, we have to go. We're going to leave. Scream 2022 version. I'm gonna call it Scream 5 just for the duration of this movie review because I'm not gonna say 22 version all this time. Full transparency here, guys. Growing up, I've never seen the other Scream movies. Like the first one came out in 1996, 1997, 2000, and 2011 respectively. So growing up, I was like late elementary school, middle school, and early high school. So I never could have gone to the movies to see this. However, growing up, having older brothers and sisters and people around me, I heard it was a cultural phenomenon, that there was a lot of like good things about it. Like it changed horror, slasher, mystery movies. It didn't take itself too seriously. So I was intrigued to go watch this film the first time because I know some of you, like me, this is your first time watching a Scream movie, and I can already tell you right off the bat, this movie does a great job of introducing new audiences to this series as well as closing out some storylines from the other previous installments, because when I was watching it, being a new audience like you, there was a lot of filling gap that I didn't get to appreciate because I didn't see the other movies. Growing up, this is what I know about Scream series for watching this movie and even after. There's Ghostface. It kind of dips into comedy horror, which this film definitely does. Like when you put your toes in the pool and then you're like, it's too cold. I felt like this does that, even though people around me said and felt that the other Scream movies were like comedy horror, but I would classify it as a little bit comedy horror, but more of a slasher thriller mystery. Definitely not demonic like Paranormal Activity, so like no devil shit, no stuff like that, like devil, demonic stuff. I do know there's high schools partying and then the group of friends, one of them is the killer or killers. The 1996, they referenced that movie a lot. People around me were like, there's not one killer but two, and the killers are already in the poster, and everyone told me like, you're missing etiquette, Scream 101. The killer is among the friends group. Even though this movie starts with someone calling a house phone, think about it. Do you have a house phone? I thought that was like disbelief. What? Like, yes, I get it. It's a movie, but it's like, we don't have landlines, and of course the house. Like everyone talks about the house. There's memes about it, and it's funny because at the end of the movie, it gives a nice shot of the house. With that being said, is this worth going in Dolby? If you love the Scream series, if you're like me and are like intrigued to go watch this, yes, because we obviously already know in the Dolby theater, Dolby Atmos, as well as the deeper blacks and deeper surround sound for those types of movies. This, since it banks on nostalgia a lot, but still reintroduces new audiences to this type of genre, I loved it because this, after watching this movie in Dolby, makes me want to go watch the other ones. The sounds of the killing are enhanced as well as like blood and gore, especially in the third act. It gets really brutal at times. So to me, I loved it in Dolby. It was a great experience. People were like getting scared because there's a lot of tense moments that don't happen and they do happen. And seeing those kills, like I said, slasher kind of horror mystery movie, I loved it in Dolby. You think that this is too scary? Nah, like I said, it's not demonic. It's not anything like that. Then regular is probably the way to go. But if you love the Scream series, which some people watching this, you probably watched all of them, but to me, even being a new audience, I'm giving it a chance, and yeah, Dolby is the way to go. The movie starts out with someone calling the phone. We got Scream being like, I'm gonna kill you. Answer the phone, which is weird. Like I said, there's a landline. Tara, who you saw in the trailers, that answers the phone, but like, yo, what are you doing? She is played by Jenna Ortega. Okay, so we're introduced to the friend group, and I'm gonna be honest, I love the friend group. We have a jock who is a football player dating a beautiful, hot, redhead woman. We also have some LGBTQI representation in this movie, so we have some gays and some lesbians, especially in the friend group, which I thought it was awesome, by the way, because we have a Chinese girl, African American guy, preppy witch white boy, which he is from other movies. The preppy witch white boy, Dylan Wimet, he also played in Don't Breathe 1 and 13 Reasons Why. The main character is not Tara, even though she was introduced to us in the beginning. It's actually her sister that is the main character of this movie. Melissa Barrera as Sam Comforter. Now, if that name and look sounds familiar, I actually did a review of her last year with In the Heights. So seeing her in this role in a horror / mystery genre, I thought it was awesome because Melissa Barrera, I'm like, I've seen her before. Like, she's so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. She's the older sister. So the main character is centered around her and her boyfriend, Richie. So I'm just like, okay, well, it's a group of high schoolers going to high school, and then the killings happen. Scream, someone's among the friend group, and then throughout the movie, no spoilers, they die until we get to Act 3, until it gets revealed that there's not one but two killers. The other Scream movies had two killers, especially when they told me there is some legacy characters that we get introduced that are not in the trailer, and I'm not going to say that in the movie review because that will be spoiler alert, but they are used sparingly and into like a great moment because I'm like, wow, I can't believe he's in this movie, especially from the other Scream cast. So all of them learn about Ghostface, right? They all team up. They're like, we need to band together. So the killings happen. Tara gets hospitalized. They have to come together. High schools, blah. So we got rules and rules in the movie that they portray because the cast members in the movie are like, we need to come together. We need to have rules. Never go alone. Never say be right back. Always look behind you. Never trust anyone, because we obviously know Scream. It felt like even watching this movie, it never took itself too seriously. And so this is the first time that we get introduced to a new thing. It's called a requel. So it's not a prequel. prequel, it's not a sequel. What is a requel? In the movie itself, it's funny because when they're talking, they're actually acknowledging that they're a movie. Breaks the fourth wall with us. You know, like The Office, they look at the camera and they're like, for this, the cast is being like, oh, we need to catch Scream, but it's weird because they reference requel as Star Wars, The Force Awakens. And now that I think about it, a requel in their terms is like introducing legacy characters to advance the story forward with as well as the cast. So I really love that because they're trying to get legacy characters from the other previous installments of Scream films. They're like, oh, we need your help. We need to get remakes. And they also like try to bash on the remakes. They mentioned Flatliners, which I like that movie, but a lot of people didn't. Halloween, Michael Myers. The movie acknowledges that it never takes itself too seriously. Also acknowledges that it is a movie. I probably would have understood it more and appreciated it more and liked it more if I watched the other movies leading up to this, because it does close up some chapters and some conversation dialogue between the legacy characters because they are introduced again in this movie and they haven't seen each other in a long time. Like, for example, Dwight, Sydney, and Gail, they're all legacy characters. And I felt like when they get introduced to this movie, it felt like they still had a lot of talking and conversation that I probably missed on because it felt like a reunion in some sort to introduce the new characters. Thing that I do want to like disbelieve is they have a killing in broad daylight. I mentioned this in my quick out of the theater review, but they have a killing right there in the doorsteps in broad daylight. Like, he's like killing somebody. I'm not saying who he killed, but Scream just like stabs somebody. And that's crazy because it's like in broad daylight. I thought that was nice to see in a slasher film because usually in horror films, everything's in the dark. No lie. Like, most of the killings are in the dark and in that weird setting room with no light. But having a killing in broad daylight in front of like the porch of a household, like, what? And there's other houses around it too. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm not saying like it's cool to kill people, but I'm just saying that fact alone that it's in broad daylight, it's nice to see because a lot of movies don't do that. Even the cast of the characters in the movie acknowledges they want the perfect ending, that this is a movie, you know, we can't like get out, we have to be together. So now we get into Act 3 and there's some weird and big twists. Who are the killers? Act 3, without getting into it, it gets really bonkers. So we're in the house, everyone's killing, it's a lot of bloody, it's a lot of gory action, there's a lot of weird scenes. I loved everything about it, even though I'm coming at this fresh. I love the killings, I love the action, I love Act 3. Act 3 alone just propels the movie forward because there's so much blood, there's so much gore, there's so much action in that movie. And we finally get the big reveal. Throughout the film, I'm like, who is it? I'm like, people have telling me it's in the friend group. And you really don't know, but then seeing their friend group get torn apart, like someone dies, someone dies, someone dies, and some of them live. Some of them live. So I'm really happy that I got to see this movie. Scream 5 2022 version, good/great movie. That's gonna be everything for me today. I hope you have a great day and let me know if you ever need anything. If you haven't already, please hit that notification so you never miss a video and consider subscribing so you keep up to date with the movies, news, information. Take care.